Alright, good day everyone, and welcome to another class. The first module we looked at what research writing is. Then our second class we were able to do a live demonstration of how to write your background of the study. I also taught you how to search the website using operators so that you can get credible journals that are within specific date range. So today we want to step it a little bit further. We'll be concluding writing chapter 1 today. So by the next class we are going to be moving to chapter 2. So for chapter 1 today we are going to be looking at how to write your statement of problem, your objective of the study. You are going to be understanding what objective of the study means. Then we look at research questions and hypotheses, then the significance of the study. That aspect is actually quite simple for people, most people get it. Then we talk about the scope of the study, and finally we talk about definition of terms and then operational definition of terms. So I'll be using a slide though, but not everything I say will be in this slide. So I will just advise that you get a writing material, a jotter, a notebook so that you can put a lot of things down. We've been able to search for our journals in the last class and we created a master sheet. If you've not done that, I will actually advise you to do that. And if you find it difficult, you can just message me. I will put you through how to use the operators. So we searched for journals in the last class, we downloaded them and we analyzed them using AI mode, Google's AI mode. So after analyzing them, we kept them somewhere and we used the prompt to write out the background of the study, which background of the study following what the funnel approach, the global niche down to what to your just regional, then to your local area. Alright, so I will share my screen now so we can start the class. I believe we can all see my screen. So writing a professional problem statement and research objective. So we are going to be using a formula I call I.R.C.G formula to write our statement of problem. The I.R.C.G is just in 4 parts. We have the ideal, we have the reality, we have the consequences and the gap. Now the ideal, let me explain what it means to you. For your first paragraph of your statement of the problem, you must be able to let us understand what the ideal is. Ideal means that something is perfect. That's just it. Something that is perfect. That is the meaning of the word ideal. If you remember from your chemistry class, physics class, ideal gas laws, there are no ideal machines, things like that. So yeah, things that are perfect in short. In the statement of the problem, depending on your research topic, you should be able to let us know that okay, this should be what is happening. This is the standard. For example, now we are talking about waste disposal. In your first paragraph, you can let us know that the standard protocol for waste disposal is this, and that. You let us know the standard for waste disposal if your topic is on waste disposal. Then after that, you move to the R, which is the reality. Now you have already given us the ideal, the standard, what should be happening. Now you let us know what is now happening, the reality. And then paragraphs like that can now start with however, waste disposal in so and so follows this. You let us see the reality now. Okay, even though this is standard though, that is not what we are experiencing here. This is the reality of what is going on here, and you start giving us evidence, start showing us evidence. If you are working on things like antenatal, you should let us know that the ID, the pregnant woman should attend antenatal regularly. They should take their vaccines, their sulfadoxine pyrimethamine too for malaria prevention and things like that. Everything they are to do, that should be the ideal. Let us know what the ideal should be for all pregnant women if that is your topic. And when you now transition to your paragraph 2, you now let us know that however, most people, I'm not saying that you should always use however. There are other phrases like although, things like that. So you let us know that even though that is the standard, most pregnant women do not attend their antenatal frequently. They miss it. Some just come haphazardly, some miss their vaccines, some miss their appointment. So, and you give us evidence. So you are telling us the reality now. So after letting us know what the reality is, you now let us know what the consequence is. For example, now we know that if a pregnant mother, does not take folic acid properly when she's pregnant, it can lead to neural tube defect in the child when the child is born, and that is fatal. Neural tube defect is very, very fatal. If a pregnant mother who is RVD positive does not attend their appointment frequently to actually suppress the viral load and they give birth, it is very likely that the child will be what? Will also be positive. But in the ID, you have already made us to know that, well, since the mother is retro positive, retroviral positive, if they attend their appointment properly, they will be using their medications very well, and the viral load will be so reduced that the chances of the child contacting the HIV/AIDS whatever from the mother while in the womb will be very reduced. But since you now allowed us to know the reality that they do not attend, then the consequence now is that most retro mothers give birth to children that are what? That are positive, because you've let us see the reality that they don't attend regularly. I hope you understand. So you let us know the idea. This should be happening. This is the standard. Then you let us see the reality. Even though that is the standard, this is what is happening. Because this is happening, now you let us see the consequence of their actions or of what is happening, which will be the risk. Now, after telling us the consequence will be your paragraph 3 for your statement of the problem. By your paragraph 4, you now tell us the gap. You now include the gap. However, some people can just end their statement of problem in the consequence part to just say that, well, because of this, a research is needed in this. But sometimes, because you are trying to actually write a research, evidence-based practice, all these things, yeah. So you let us see the gap. What have people done on something like this? This problem, you are not the first person to realize this problem. You are not the first person to actually observe this problem that you are documenting. So other people that have also observed the problem before and have carried out studies on that same problem, what have they done? So you let us know that these are what they did, these are the things they do not do, and that will form your gap, which will be the justification, so that you are not just repeating what others have done in the past. You are now adding, you are now contributing to the existing body of knowledge. You are letting us know that author so did this, they omitted this, they omitted this. So your research wants to work on these aspects they omitted. So that is just the layout or the structure for writing the statement of problem. You talk about the ideal. After the ideal, talk about the reality. Then you tell us the consequence of that reality. Then you now tell us the gap. What are the missing links, the missing data in that? So you need to understand it so you can be able to, because even if you use AI to write it, you need to be able to proofread it yourself and say that, okay, probably AI did not give you what you want, what you desire. But if you do not understand it, you will just garbage in, garbage out. You will just copy and paste exactly what AI gives you. And that is why I'm explaining like this, so that whatever AI gives you, you will be able to proofread it yourself and make necessary corrections and adjustments. All right, so I will give us a prompt for writing your statement of the problem. You can modify all the prompts I have given out in this class. You can modify them to fit your use, provided you understand the logic behind it, because you cannot edit the prompt if you do not understand the reason why it was written like that in the first place. You get me now? Because there is no holy grail, one shoe, I mean one size fits all for all these things. You need to be able to edit things, to edit it till it fits your taste. And AI is there, you cannot escape it. The next development like this, if you do not understand how to use AI now, it will be difficult for you to continue to keep up with life. So I will just advise you, learn prompt engineering, look into prompt engineering so you can know how to prompt all this artificial intelligence very well. All right, so this is the prompt. You go to your AI, you tell the AI that you want to write a 4-paragraph statement of problem for your nursing research project using the I.R.C.G formula. Now, the I.R.C.G formula is not a formula known to the whole world, the I.R.C.G formula. This is it. So you have to actually educate the AI on what you mean by I.R.C.G formula, which is ideal, reality, consequence, and gap. So you tell the AI your topic, you input your topic there, then you now try and explain to the AI what you mean by the ideal. Make sure you explain to the AI what ideal is, what reality is, what consequence is, and what gap is. As you can see in this AI prompt strategy I gave you, I have explained it, what the ideal is. I have given the AI example, then the reality from the data, based on 3 negative statistics. Now, exam matrix, I will talk about that very, very soon. Then the consequence, e.g., risk of infection spread. All these things must be with citations. Then the gap, previous studies focused on whatever you are working on. But once you give AI this prompt, it will understand. However, you can further edit it to fit your own if you are not getting the right kind of result. So then the last line of the prompt is, please write this academically, citing the authors and data I provided. Now, authors and data you provided, we are going to do a live demonstration. But if you remember very well in the last class, after downloading our journals, we analyzed them, and then we copied everything we have analyzed. We copied it and kept it somewhere. And that is what I mean by Excel matrix. You can turn it into a spreadsheet, your results, or you can just keep it as a Word file. I prefer a Word file because not everyone will be able to use Pro versions. And if you can't use Pro version, you will be limited when you want to upload files to all these artificial intelligence. So you are going to go and copy all those analysis, your journal 1, journal 2, copy all the analysis, everything again. Then you paste this prompt, you input your research topic in the space provided. Then after the line, please write this academically, citing the authors and data I provided. You can just leave a space, then paste all the analysis you have looked for, all the results from the journals. After going through the journal, which AI did for you, you just paste it there. So you send it, then AI writes it for you automatically. You are going to see that in this class. So we're going to do the live demonstration towards the later part of the class. All right. There is another problem I noticed from the prompt I gave last. There is a problem. If you've tried it and you were just getting the response you got, it was only citing probably just 3 or 4 people, just 3 or 4, and it is repetitive and it is not so academical, not so strong or conk. The reason is that if you are trying to use AI mode, Google search AI mode to write it, I think it has a character limit. Yes, it has a character limit for what you can paste. It has a character limit for what you can paste. So I will just advise that after using your Google search to get your journals, use the AI mode to analyze it. Open a Word file, Microsoft Word. As you're analyzing, be copying it and be pasting it there. So you save that file and you keep it on your computer or your phone. Keep it saved and secure about your 20-30 journals that is related to your topic and you want to use to write the research. So you now go to any AI you want to use, Grok, ChatGPT, Gemini, anyone, because they don't really have character limit like that. ChatGPT, I don't really think it has. Even if it will have character limit, it will be something very wide. I'm not sure. So you now go there, then you paste the prompt I gave for writing background of the study. Then you now copy your analysis which you have saved in a Word document and you paste it also there. So it should work perfectly this time. And after getting your background of the study, make sure you humanize it, write it, try am. Don't paraphrase. There is difference between paraphrasing something and humanizing it. When you are paraphrasing, you are abridging it, you are limiting it, you are reducing it. You are not paraphrasing, you are humanizing. You are writing it in another way. What machine writes cannot be like what human writes. So you have to sit down with it, read it, understand it, and now rewrite it. You get? Just change some phrases, some grammars. So now let's talk about objectives, writing your objective. Now I have realized that this aspect is also an aspect that most students find difficult, and it is very confusing and also debatable. And the consequence of this is that your objective actually determines what your work will look like. If you do not write your objective very well, when you get to chapter 3, you will not know the method you want to use. Your chapter 2, empirical review, you write it according to your objectives. You structure them according to your objectives. So you need to understand what research objectives are. So I'm going to talk about the popular misconceptions. Should I even call it misconception? Popular arguments, debates around this area. So when we are talking about objectives now, majorly I just want to talk about the descriptive objectives and the inferential objectives. Under your objective, when you want to write your objective, you first tell us your main objective, also called your broad objective or the aim of the study. Again, your broad objective or main objective, also called aim of the study, and that is your topic, that is your research topic. What you are doing under that place is just that you are copying your research topic and you are pasting it. The broad objective of this study is insert topic. You just insert your topic, bam, that's all. Or the main objective of this study is you insert your research topic directly. That is all. Now you now go to specific objective. Now it is your specific objective that will now tell us exactly what you want to do, exactly where you want to focus on. It is possible that you and I we have the same research topic. If we have the same research topic, the same setting, well, our population may differ sha. Even if we have the same thing, it is our specific objective that will differentiate between our works. Your specific objective will let us know that okay, you want to face these people. I am looking at this direction. You understand? So that is why your specific objectives are very important. Now for nursing, there are research methods and everything. Every field of study have their own, what's it called now? Their own preference, their own choice, the way they like it. For nursing, with the little I have experienced there, this is how you should do it. You need to have, for NMCN exams, you need to have both descriptive objectives and inferential objectives, because NMCN wants you to have a hypothesis and they want you to test hypothesis. If NMCN does not want you to have hypothesis and test it, then you can carry out a full descriptive study whereby all your objectives will be descriptive in nature. In fact, you can carry out a qualitative research and not quantitative. You get? But because NMCN wants you to have hypothesis, they want you to test hypothesis. So you are writing a quantitative research, not a qualitative research. For your school project that you are not submitting to NMCN, you can decide that you want to write a qualitative study. If you inform your project supervisor, they may allow you. You get? But for NMCN, I don't really think they take qualitative studies. It must be quantitative in nature. And when we talk about quantitative studies, it means you are dealing with numbers, quantity, numbers. You understand? You are dealing with numbers. And that is why you are going to be making use of mean, mode, median for your descriptive analysis. And inferential analysis, you are going to be doing things like chi-square, ANOVA, z-test. You get? Because they just have to do with quantity, numbers. All right, let me come back now. So descriptive objectives, you just want to describe something. You want us to know how something is. And the verbs you use for descriptive objectives are assess, to assess something, to examine something, to identify something. Assess the so and so depending on your topic. Examine the so and so depending on your topic. Now, descriptive objectives mostly as one variable. Mostly as one variable. For example, so you are working on a study that says knowledge, attitude, and practice of hand washing. Knowledge, attitude, and practice of hand washing among final year nursing students at Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Omosho, Oyo State, Nigeria. That is your research topic. Knowledge, attitude, and practice. Your specific objective one may now be to assess the level of knowledge. That is descriptive. The only variable you are checking there is the knowledge, level of knowledge, to assess the level of knowledge. KP, knowledge, attitude, and practice of hand washing. KP, knowledge, attitude, and practice of hand washing among final year nursing students. Now, for your descriptive objective one, you can say assess knowledge or assess level of knowledge. Access level of knowledge, that is your first objective. That's like your first objective, to access the level of knowledge. Now, level of knowledge, then you now tell us among population. Level of knowledge is the only variable here. So when you now do the assessment, when you collect your data with questionnaires and everything, you now report back to us that from what you assessed, this is the level of knowledge. About 80 something percent has high level of knowledge. That is measurable. Your specific objective 2 may now say that to examine the attitude and a nursing student. To examine the attitude of final year nursing student. The only variable I am checking here is what? Attitude. Attitude is the only variable I'm checking here. I want to examine the attitude. The attitude is the variable I'm focusing on here. You get? That is also descriptive. It has just one variable, because at the end of the day, once I carry out my research and I have my result, I will report back that I realized that probably 75% of nursing students have good attitude towards hand washing practice. That means they will practice hand washing very well. Why some do not have good attitude towards it? That is just the meaning. You are just describing. You are not predicting anything. You are not showing any relationship. You are not showing any correlation. Then I can do for the third one, probably to identify, or I can say to assess again. Those are just phrases. Another variable you get. I can say I want to identify the problems. Okay, identify problems. To identify, let me just read. To identify problems or challenges faced in the practice of challenges faced in the practice of hand washing by population or in that population. You get? What am I checking here? I'm trying to identify the problems and challenges. That is also descriptive, because when I'm done with my descriptive analysis, what I will say is that the problems are about so percent, about 34.2% reported that unavailability of water or unavailability of detergent is the problem, is the reason why they don't practice hand washing regularly. That is it. You understand? You've just described to us what the problems you are identifying. That would be in your chapter 4. So all these descriptive objective you cannot have hypothesis for them because you are not testing anything. If you remember in your biology and your basic science, I think they do teach research method, not exactly research method, scientific method. They let you know the reason why we have hypothesis. Hypothesis is just like a prediction, an intelligent statement that you have to test. They teach it in basic science and biology. Yes, you have to test it. Now, when you test it and it is true, you adopt it, you turn it to what? A theory. But if it is false, you will not turn it to a theory. So that is what hypothesis is. We are not testing all these statistics. You are only describing what you observed. For you to have hypothesis, that means you must have an inferential objective. An inferential objective. You must have an inferential objective to have an hypothesis. When we now talk about inferential objective, there must be relationship. It must have more than a variable because, for example, now I cannot say that there is a relationship between myself and myself. No, we are just talking of just one party here, just me myself. So I cannot say that there is a relationship because me, I am the variable now. I am having a relationship with myself. A normal sane human being will not say that. But then it is possible I say that there is a relationship between I and God. There are two variables now, myself and who? And God. There is relationship between us now. So I am the variable one, God is the variable two. I may now try to say that I want to determine the relationship between us. I want to know the consequence of the relationship between myself and God, the consequence it will have on my life. So now you are now drafting out an inferential objective. The easiest way for you to identify an inferential objective is that it will have more than a variable, two or more. It will always have more than a variable. It will not be limited to just a variable. It will not be limited to just a variable. You know, descriptive objective, they are just a variable. You will only see a variable there. While inferential, you will see two or more. Two or more. It will always have more than one variable. To now draft that out, let me show us to draft it out. You know, these are my first three objectives, specific objectives. So my number 4 now may be to check the relationship, to examine. The phrases we use are determine, ascertain, compare. There are other phrases. But here I may say to determine the relationship. You only use relationship between. You must have two variable A and variable B. Now I may say this is the only variable here, level of knowledge. The variable here is attitude. So I may say I want to check the relationship between level of knowledge and attitude of hand washing. And I have my first one, level of knowledge and attitude. And attitude, to determine the relationship between level of knowledge and attitude of hand washing. To determine the relationship between level of knowledge and attitude of hand washing. I can also say I want to check the effect of, or to determine the effect of, this is the first variable, level of knowledge variable A, attitude variable B. So when I collect my questionnaire, I will measure level of knowledge, I will measure attitude. Level of knowledge about hand washing, I will measure it. Attitude of hand washing, I will measure it. I will describe it for these first two. One, level of knowledge, I will describe it. Attitude, I will describe it. Now, the result I get for those two places, I will now compare it using inferential statistics, and what we majorly use for that is the SPSS software. There are other software people use. Some can use Excel to do it. Excel is also acceptable, but SPSS is just like the standard that I know of. Let me put it like that. So you now relate them together, that there is a relationship. If there is a relationship, you want to check if level of knowledge has effect on the attitude. You get. You may say that after doing your statistic, you may now realize that okay, those with high level of knowledge, they have good attitude. Those with high level of knowledge about hand washing, they have what? Good attitude towards hand washing. Why those that don't have high level of knowledge, those with low or no level of knowledge, don't even practice hand washing at all. You are checking relationship like that. Then I can decide I want to have a fifth objective, and I also want it to still be an inferential objective. So what will I do? I may decide to say I want to determine the effect of level of knowledge on the practice. To determine the effect of level of knowledge on the practice of hand washing. Alright, so this is effect of what? Level of knowledge, variable 1, on what? Practice, variable 2. So you want to check if knowledge affects practice. The next thing is your research questions. This part, people argue it a lot that, in fact, of recent, I worked with some people and they were like, their school does not allow them to include their inferential objectives as part of their specific objective. And I'm like, it is still an objective. Everything you want to do in your research work, you must actually indicate it in your objective so we can know where your research is going. But some says that they only allow them to put only descriptive here, and they will now get to hypothesis, and from nowhere they will just bring hypothesis. Damn it, it is not proper. And for research questions, these are for the questions your research will answer. It is very simple. It's actually very simple. So you come to your first objective, assess the level of knowledge among the population. So you just tell us what is the level of knowledge. Abi now, what is the level of knowledge among population? What's the population? Final year nursing student. Larry Kakitola, that's the setting. Then your number two will be, what's your number two objective? Examine the attitude. You tell us what is the attitude. That's all. Is the attitude. Like that. Attitude of what? Of final year nursing student, you complete it. Then your number three will be to identify the problems or challenges faced. You will say that what are the problems or challenges faced or challenges faced blah 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 blah. You fit the rest. Your number four now, some people will tell you that don't include your inferential objectives, which is your 4 and 5. You can have more than 5 objectives. You can have just 4. Your first 3 being descriptive and your last one being inferential. You can don't have 3, please. Don't have just 3. Have 4, have 5. You can have 7. But don't have just 3. Yes, don't have just 3. But you can have 3. You just be relating number 1 and number 2 in your number 3 to form your inferential objective. Now I don't know. You may have to rewatch this video to understand properly. It's not something I understood once too. Alright, so your number 4 now, which is your to determine the relationship between. Now my own because I actually went to the website, I searched a lot of resources and materials just to know if it is right or wrong. And what I realized is that it is very right that you include all your objectives in your research questions. Because at the end of the day, your hypothesis is still answering a question. What is the question your number 4 is answering to determine? It will answer the question of what is the relationship. What is the relationship? That is the question it will answer. So since there is a question there, why not include it here? So you just turn it to determine the relationship. What is the relationship between level of knowledge and attitude? Between level of knowledge, attitude, then you insert the rest like that. And your number 5, it is also an inferential objective. It is still answering a question. You want to know the effect of level of knowledge on practice. So it will be what is the on practice of and you have your what? Your research questions. You have your research questions. These are your specific objectives. Alright, and these are your research questions now. Now the final is what next? After your research question, you have the hypothesis. Now, so you cannot turn a descriptive objective into an hypothesis. Why? It has only one variable, and it is impossible to say that a variable is having a relationship with itself unless you are able to identify other sub-variables beneath it. But then that's not the scope of what you are doing here. That may be advanced. So for your specific objective now, there is just one variable here, level of knowledge, so it will not have hypothesis. I have seen research work where someone is saying there is no relationship between level of knowledge among population. I am like, what's this? Because a single variable cannot date themselves. You get, that's just the simple explanation. You need 2 people or more to have a relationship. It can be just normal, a wife and a woman, or polygamy, polyandry, but just a single person, there must be another party. Just understand it like that. So the third one too, to identify problems, you cannot say there is no relationship between the problems. Just go to your what? To your inferential objectives. Your inferential objectives are the only ones you can turn to an hypothesis. So to determine the relationship between the level, now for this one, your null hypothesis will be null means 0. Null set in mathematics, null means 0. You get. So there is no. Null hypothesis means it is zero. So that is the reason why you will see people saying there is no significant relationship, not just ordinary relationship or significant relationship. There is no significant relationship between what? Level of knowledge and attitude of hand washing. That is just it. That is how to go about formulating your hypothesis. That would be your null hypothesis. We have both null and alternate hypothesis. Yes. Council do ask sometimes. They do ask. So I will just advise that you read on it. It is not in the scope of what you are doing in this research bootcamp, although we may look for a way to teach you. It is just you understanding what we call errors, type 1 error, type 2 error. That's just it. There's one called type 1 error, there's another one called type 2 error, and that is did you accept a true hypothesis or a false hypothesis, things like that. Yeah. The second one, to determine the effect of knowledge on the practice of hand washing. This one too can be turned to an hypothesis. It will just be that your null hypothesis will be there is no significant effect of knowledge, or there's no significant effect of the level of knowledge of nursing students on their practice of hand washing, and that's that. Those will be the two research hypotheses you will have. First one will be there is no significant relationship. There's no significant relationship between level of knowledge and attitude. Level of knowledge. Then you tell us among blah blah blah. Then the second one, there is no significant effect. So you don't think that it's only relationship they check. They also check effect. They check other things. You can read wide on this. Then you can have others. It's not compulsory you follow this template. I'm just using it to demonstrate and explain it to you. So that is that about that. These are both null hypotheses because it has no. So they are both what? Null hypothesis. Null, N-U-L-L. N-U-L-L. We also have alternate hypothesis. You get now. If null means no or empty, then alternate will be it exists. Null means it does not exist. Alternate will be it exists. So to write your alternate hypothesis, the alternate hypothesis, most of the time we call this one H null or H0. You must have seen it before, sha. We call it H, yeah, like this, like this. While your alternate will now be H1, a subscript like that. So your H1 will now be there is significant relationship. There is significant relationship. A significant relationship between like that. Why this one will be your H no, or this one, your second hypothesis. So will just be your this one will just be your H1, then subscript, make it a subscript. Then there is what? There's significant effect of blah 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 blah. That's all. H null is your null and H1 is your what? H1 is your alternate hypothesis. I think I've covered everything concerning your broad objective, specific objective. Your broad objective is just your topic directly, and it is also called the aim of your study. We mentioned what specific objectives are, how to formulate it, your research questions, then your what? Your research hypothesis. I will have two forms of hypothesis, the null and the alternate. So thank you very much. Let us proceed. Can you see here? Relationship between variables. Let's continue. So I have explained the symmetrical alignment model. What it just means is that all your objective must have a question. That is just it. All your objectives should have a question. For your descriptive objective, you must have descriptive research questions. Descriptive objectives, we only have descriptive research question, while inferential objective, we have inferential research questions and what? Hypothesis. And I have shown that. Alright, so let's talk about significance of the study. So in the significance of your study, you are just trying to explain to us those who benefit from your work. Please take notes. When you are writing in research, you don't just number, don't bullet, you write in paragraphs. It is important. You write in paragraphs. You tell us the significance to the respondents. The respondents, if your respondents are, for example, the example I used, not final year nursing students, my respondents, those that will fill my questionnaire are my respondents. So I will tell those reading the research work that this is the significance to them. That is the first one. It must be just a paragraph, a short paragraph. Another paragraph, you tell us the significance of your study to the nursing profession, to the institution where you are carrying out the research, or other institutions. You tell us the significance to the nursing research generally, the literature gap you identify that you want to fill. Another paragraph too. You tell us the significance to healthcare providers. You tell us the significance to the society. That would be like 6 paragraphs in all. Some make it just 3 paragraphs. Significance to nursing profession, significance to healthcare providers, and significance to society. You can just write everything. All right. So scope of your study. Yes, we are almost at the end of this class. So the scope of your study is we can just categorize our scope into three parts. We have the content scope, we have the geographical scope, and the population scope. So in your content scope, you let us know what your variables are. I have explained variables when we were trying to write out the objective. So you let us know what are your variables. What variables are you working on in this research work? It is possible that some variables do not show up in your topic and they show up in your specific objective. Once they show up in your specific objective, let us know here in the scope. There are research like that the topic, especially with word count limitation on research topics, it is possible that some variables do not show in your topic and they show in your specific objective. In fact, there are things we still call measurable indicators, but I really don't want to complicate the class. I want it to be practically focused. That's the reason why there are a lot of things, theoretical things that will make you even understand better that we have omitted. Then we talk about the geographical scope, which is where are you carrying out the works. Maybe for the example I used, it is Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso, Oyo State. I tell you that is the geographical scope. And the population scope is, for my own case, I use what? Final year nursing student. Final year nursing student, not all nursing student, not 100 level to 500 level, only final year nursing student. That's my population scope. That is the who, what, where, who. And if you remember VPS strategy that we talked about in the first class, it was in the first class, the VPS strategy, module 1, on how to formulate your research topic. This is it again, your scope of the study. So if you understood it then, you will understand it now. All right. This is the last aspect for this class today. Let's talk about operational definition and conceptual definition. Now, it depends on your lecturer sometimes, but I feel like most lecturer will prefer you to use operational definition because operational definition is the standard. That's just it. Operational definition is the standard. Definition of terms is also called conceptual definition of terms. Now, it just means dictionary meaning. That's all. When it comes to definition of terms, so conceptual definition of terms, you are telling us the concept, dictionary meaning. For example, if one of your variable that you want to define for us is high blood pressure, you just open your dictionary or ask AI what is high blood pressure, you paste it. High blood pressure is the force of what? Circulating blood against the walls of arteries. That is high blood pressure definition according to what? Dictionary meaning. That is definition of terms or conceptual definition of terms. But the standard, which is operational definition of terms, it is the definition according to your research work. It is what? The definition according to your research work. With the same example of high blood pressure, let's say I am carrying out a research work whereby I am checking high blood pressure. Very important. If you want to write what's it called now? If you want to write operational definition of times, make sure it is something that is measurable. Things that are measurable should be, this is a quantitative research work. Things that are measurable should be included in your definition of terms. You just don't pick terms in your topic wey access one topic, let me pick it, ele one topic, let me pick it. No, it doesn't work like that. So you look for the things that are measurable in this study and you tell us in your operational definition of terms. For example, now this high blood pressure definition meaning may be the force of circulating blood against the walls of your arteries, like that. But your operational will now be that your definition operationally is a systolic reading above 140 millimeter mercury as measured by a digital pygmanometer. You get? That is your operational definition. For especially those working on pre-eclampsia and knowledge of pre-eclampsia, things like that, you have to measure blood pressure. You have to define that systolic reading, diastolic reading. You get? You cannot just tell us operational definition of terms, blood pressure, high blood pressure, and start telling us blood of. No, let us know the value that for someone to have eclampsia, the blood pressure of the person must read from this to this. That is the operational definition of term. Because you've operationalized it, you are telling us how you use that term in that topic. So anywhere I say high blood pressure in that study, it means that if I say someone has high blood pressure in that study, it means that that person has 140 millimeter mercury systolic blood pressure. That's or upwards. That is what I mean. Not that the person has 130. I'm not no, because in my operational definition of terms, I only identified people that has high blood pressure as those with what 140 mmHg upwards. Again, conceptual definition or ordinary definition of terms is dictionary meaning. Operational definition of terms is just your definition according to your research work. The definition according to how you use that term in your research work. All right. So this is just an assessment. Draft your problem statement using the AI prompt. Write 5 objectives, 3 descriptive, 2 inferential. Then draft the significance of your study and write 3 operational definitions for your research topic. Write 3 operational definitions for your research topic. All right, so now we are going to be doing the live demonstration of writing statement of the problem. How to write the statement of your problem using that AI prompt. Please, this class is actually a free class. We're doing it through live streaming before, but we have changed the mode now to a pre-recorded video that we are uploading. So please, when you watch this video, if it actually benefits you, just like it, please like the video, then subscribe. Now the reason for this is to allow other people, because this video is public, it should allow them to be able to view this video and also understand this thing. So if you like it and subscribe, if you like the video and you comment on it, then YouTube will suggest the video as helpful to a lot of people searching on how to write research work. But if you do not like it, YouTube will not suggest it for people that need help. And I believe there's a lot of stuff in this video. So please just like it and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. I am sharing my screen now. Let's proceed with the class. So in the last class, I taught us how to download your journals. After downloading your journals, I have uploaded the journal here now. I want to add the prompt I gave during the last class. Help us to analyze it. And this was the prompt I gave us from the last class. This was the prompt. I will paste it here and I'll send it. And it should analyze it. Now, can you see now? Title. It has given us the title, the in-text citation, like that. So what you are going to do is you copy them one by one, which you should have done during the last class. But I realize that that last video might, if you follow everything strictly in that video, you may not get the right result. So, for example, now you copy all this from your AI mode, whatever it gives to you, you copy it, Control C to this place, Control C. Then you come to your file, you create a new one, a new document, and you do what? You just paste it there. You paste it there. You get me? Then you do for another study, you do it, you do for another study like that. So you have a list that has like at least 20 works, yeah, that you have analyzed. So this was the thing you used to write your background of the study, and we're also going to use it to write your statement of the problem. There was a topic we used during the last class. So I have opened my ChatGPT. This is free. I did not log in. I just browsed ChatGPT. You should use your logged in account if you want to. I will come and copy my topic. The topic we used last class. There was a topic we used last class. So I want to copy the topic. Here's the topic: factors influencing. We did this during the last class, if you remember. Factors influencing medication errors among what? Nurses at Bowen Teaching Hospital of Bomashaw. Then we Control C, copy it. So you come and copy the prompt. My God. Let me paste this here first. Control V. Now let me come and copy the prompt for this class. All right. So this is the prompt. I will input the prompt here. Control V. I need you to write a 4-paragraph statement of the problem for my nursing research project using I.R.C.G formula. So my topic, which is this. So I can now put it here in this place where it says I should insert my topic. Control V. All right. So the ID, please write this academically, citing the authors I provided. So you give a space. So you shift enter. You give a space. Then that document where you compiled all the analysis you have done, you just copy it and you paste it here. All those. But let me just copy it from here. This is it. This was the result I got. This is my own. I've highlighted it, so I'll copy it now. And I'll come back to my ChatGPT and I'll just paste it. I've pasted everything. Quantifiable variable itself. I want to check quantifiable, yeah, that's the last thing. And I send it. I've not tried this before with ChatGPT actually. I've not tried it. I'm trying it for the first time live. Now, ideally the medication administration should adhere to, can you see? It is writing in reality with citations, as you can see. These are citations. The same correct citations we gave it. We do it, everything. The consequence now, he told us what should be the ID, should adhere strictly to establish patient safety. Now, he told us the what I.R.C.G, the consequence here. This is the consequence. The consequence of medication errors are severe, affecting patients in quality of care. I say medical have been linked to patient injury, increased morbidity, multi-prolonged hospital stay, loss of public confidence in healthcare system. Nelson and Horn, 2023. Can you see? All this, it gave it to us. Despite the growing body of literature, so this is now the gap. Many existing studies are focused on pharmacists, nursing students, or were conducted outside Nigeria or in single facilities, limiting generalizability. Even within Nigeria, studies have largely concentrated on hospitals in Lagos, Ibadan, Shagamu, or Makurdi with limited empirical evidence, specifically examining staff nurses at Bowen. Final line, these gaps necessitate different study to identify. So you are done with your statement of problem. But what you should do is that you should humanize it. You can also still tell AI to humanize it for you. You get, but I will advise you to read it and understand it. I will advise you to understand it properly before you try to humanize it. Can you see now? In an ID set, still saying the same thing, but humanized now, edited now. You get. Then you can still rehumanize this again. I will do a second example. I worked on a study. I used my Gemini actually. I used my Gemini. So the let me paste our prompt for writing the background. So I'll copy it, Control C and Control V. I'm using ChatGPT here again. So for the topic, all right. So this is the topic. I've copied the topic and I'll be pasting it here. My topic, Control V. So now I need to insert the literatures that I have researched. So this is the compilation of the study I used to do this work. I just have to copy everything and paste it for ChatGPT to use. I use this to write background of the study. Control C. So I have copied it, so I'll just paste it here. Control V. Message is too long. Wow. Wow. Let me try Gemini. Let me try a free Gemini. A free Gemini. The Gemini here is not free. It is paid. Let me try a free Gemini. Alright, so this is a free Gemini. Let me go and copy everything from here. From there, Control A, Control C. Then come back to this one. Let me paste it. Control V. It is also still too long. Also too long. Study 4. So there is also character limit for free versions of Gemini and ChatGPT. By the look of it, Control A. So what will happen is that I will give us a new prompt that I used so that it will not be long, so that the result you get from the analysis will not be too long. But if you have a pro version of Gemini, you can use the that gives us very long formats, that gives us the very long detailed analysis. Alright, so this is the first prompt I used. This prompt is actually very simple, but it is not as comprehensive as the one I gave you. So you can also try this prompt for the analysis of those journals. But if you have used the prompt I sent during the last class for your analysis of journal, there is another way around it. There is always a way around it, you get. If you have a document file where you have saved it before, look at this now. Just Control C it. Just come here, then just open a document file, new, Control V, paste it. Yes, it is long, but it will accommodate it. So after pasting it here, this is the analysis of everything. So what you do is just you save it, Control S it. Let me just save it as for GPT. Alright, that one is done. So so this is the ChatGPT. Input your prompt again. You input your prompt again. These are your prompts. That has your topic and everything. So alright, so this is your prompt now. Just come here and attach the you need to log in. Alright, so let me get the prompt that we used. Control C. Alright. So put your prompt here. Control V. Edit your topic. Then just add your file. Then for GPT, just add it. Once it uploads, so instead of character limit too long, just send it. Let's see. Reading document. Yeah, can you see it work? It has written it out. So As of now, we are done with chapter 1 of your research work. Remember that whatever AI gives you, try and humanize it, rewrite it, reconstruct it. If you've been able to do what you want to do, then you copy it, you go and save it. Go and save it somewhere. That is another way around it, since character limits may be too long. If you are using the modern, the advanced prompt I gave during the last class, and personally I will recommend that prompt because it will give you much more than you need. It will still give you the things you need for chapter 2 and your reference section. But the simple prompt I gave, that I said I'm going to send, this one, yes, this simple prompt, it will not give you, it is not so comprehensive. It will not give you comprehensive analysis. But if you use the prompt I gave you during the last class, this one, this prompt, oh my god, and you can save your results somewhere and just upload it to the AI, Gemini or ChatGPT or any other one you want to use. So thank you very much for tuning in. God bless you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Au revoir. Bye.